This me 15 years ago. I was trembling with fear for the first time on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about my first public speaking competition 15 years ago. I still remember I was at 6th grade that time. I couldn't utter a single word. As I said, I was trembling with fear. Not a single word was coming through my mouth. Until then, I used to be a very talkative kid. I used to love talking. I didn't really have a clue that talking can be so taunting. But at that day, everything was changed. I couldn't say a single word. It was horrible for me. And then I still remember a teacher came to me and said, "Son, just close your eyes and say whatever you want." Intrigued, I took her advice and I talked from my heart. And I did very well. Surprisingly, I really did very well actually that day. So at that day, I came to a realization, and it is that talking is not what we fear most. Talking is not what we fear most. The thing that we fear most is the judgment of. When I closed my eyes, all the flashlights was on my face. Everyone. I just felt so terrible at that time, but when I closed my eyes, everything was vanished. I could see everything that I was about myself and that I was about to say. So I came to a realization that it is not the thing that we fear most, it is the judgment of others. When you can eradicate the fear of judgment, the fear of being judged, you can say whatever you want from your heart. So, fast forwarding today, I am right in front of you and I am speaking without any kind of hesitation. You know why? Because I do not care anyone's judgment. I do not care your opinion on me. I do not care if I make a silly mistake what you might think about me. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not saying that I do not care my audience. I do care. I respect my audience, but I respect myself more. I know what my strengths are. I know what I can do. I know what I can achieve, and I'm good at it. I just talk from my heart. Okay, one question. How many of you fear public speaking? Please raise your hand. How many fear public speaking? One of you. For those who fear public speaking, is the quickest way to conquer your fear is to doing the things that you fear most over and over again. I'm going to say it again because it's so important. The quickest way to conquer your fear is doing the things you fear most over and over again. And then you're going to achieve your ultimate destination. Okay, now this will be the topic. This will be the topic that we'll discuss today. We will talk about learning a new language. How to learn a new language. Okay, we're going to talk about the importance of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and ultimately, finally, we're going to talk about our ultimate goal, which is IELTS. Okay, are you ready? Thank you. What is language? I know it's a language club, isn't it? It's a language club. Okay, so what is language for the first place? Okay, what is language? What do you think language is? Can you tell me? As you can see here, language is a system of communication that relies on verbal and non-verbal codes to transfer information. Are you getting it? Are you understanding my English? Is it okay? Okay, thank you. So language is a system of communication that relies upon verbal and non-verbal codes to transfer the information. So to be good at language, first you have to be good communicator. So language is a system where using those you can be a good communicator. So how can you be a good communicator? Dale Carnegie, in his all-time classic book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, he talks about listening. He told that to be a good communicator, first you have to be a good listener. First, you have to be a good listener. It is the ultimate rule to be a good communicator. Imagine the time you were born. The first day you came to this world. What did you do? Did you just come to this world and say, "Hello, mister, how are you?" Did you start speaking that day? No, you didn't. What did you do instead? You started listening. You started listening your mom. You started listening your father and everyone, right? And then somehow, eventually, you started uttering your first word. Ma, Baba. How did it happen? It happened because of listening. Same goes to for English. If you want to learn English, first you have to listen. How many of you listen English? How many of you listen English? What kind of things do you listen? Can you tell me what kind of things do you listen in English? Nice, amazing, English, right? And you also can listen to audiobooks. You can listen to podcasts. Lots of different items that you can find internet nowadays that you can listen. So you have to make a habit to listen first, then you can be a good communicator. Okay? To learn a new language, we have learned today, first you have to listen the language. Okay? Now, listening is fun. Make it a fun thing. What can you listen? As I already have said, you can read, you can listen audiobooks. There are tons of thousands of audiobooks that you can find from YouTube, you can find that from Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, anywhere you can find. Start listening those audiobooks. Then you can listen summaries. Maybe you are a big movie fan, you like to watch movies, or listen those summaries in English. You will learn the language better. Okay, next thing you can do, movies without subtitles. Watch movies, but not on the subtitles. You have to listen it and listen and absorb the words that they are saying. This is how you're going to learn the language. Okay, and then finally, anything you love, just make a habit of listening. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing means the sound is just coming to your ears and that doesn't make any sense. This is hearing. But if the sound comes to your ear and that makes any sense out of it, it's called listening. If my words are making any kind of impact on your brain, if you're understanding my language, that is listening. Are you guys listening? Yes. Okay, that's great. So now, next thing is speaking. If you can speak, you can influence. If you can influence, you can change life. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, if you can speak, you can influence. And if you can influence, you can change lives. So you have to make a habit of speaking. Otherwise, what's the point? If you want to learn a language and if you don't speak the language, then what's the point of learning this language? Our ultimate goal is to speak the language, isn't it? So you have to make a habit of speaking. And once again, the question is, what to speak? What do you need to speak? The answer is, again, anything you like to speak. Anything you like to speak. The point is, you have to make a habit of speaking. Just go in front of the mirror and say whatever you want, any topic. Maybe the movies that you just have watched, maybe the books that you just have read. Anything you want. Just talk to yourself. Talk in front of the mirror and you will eventually be a good speaker. And it is inevitable. You have to make a habit if you want to understand the language. Say if you want to be a good football player, what do you need to do? You have to play football, right? If you want to be a good dancer, what do you need to do? You have to dance. Like if you want to learn a language, you have to speak the language. It's as easy as you want, isn't it? Okay. And the next thing you can do, you can record yourself. Each and every one of us has mobile phones with us, isn't it? Yeah, we have. So the thing you can do, you can record yourself while speaking. And then afterwards, what you can do, you can listen to yourself. And you will find out the mistakes that you have made. And then you can rectify these mistakes. And this is how you will improve. You have to make a habit of improving. Improve yourself. Be the better version of yourself like you were yesterday. The next day you will be better. So the thing that you need to do, you have to speak. Talk about the movies, series, and anything. Talk to someone. But the thing is, never forget to make it a fun thing. Don't talk about the boring stuff that you like. Talk about the fun things that you love talking about. And this is how you're going to learn the language. And this is our next topic, which is read what you love until you love to read. It's one of the most favorite quotes that I have in my life. Read what you love until you love to read. The point is here, we're making is the importance of reading. Ladies and gentlemen, when you want to learn something, it cannot be any other way than reading. Reading is inevitably the best thing you can do to learn anything you want. You have to make a habit of reading every day, even if it's just a single page every day. But you have to read. Just to make sure that I learn the language English by reading books every day. I'm not exaggerating anything here. I read over 40 books last year. Isn't it amazing? And this is how I learned the language. When you read a book, that means you are absorbing the language. The language that is written on the book. The writer has written the book with his own language. And then you're going to absorb the language. To learn, not skip that part. You have to read. You have to read the language. So these are, I want to recommend that if you want to start a habit of reading, you can start with this book. There are plenty of other books that you can read, but these are two books that I want to recommend today. It's called Don't Believe Everything You Think, and the other one is Sapiens. These two books you can start. These are amazing. Okay. So don't have enough time to read. So some of you can say, I don't have enough time to read. What to do? If you don't have enough time to read, what you can do, start reading the summaries. If you go to Google and search anything, any book, and if you search summary, you'll find the summaries. The summaries can be in 1 page, in 2 pages, but the point is, you have to read the summaries and you have to make a habit of reading every day. You cannot skip a single day. Even if it's a rainy day, sunny day, anything, you have to read 1 page. Okay, read not to finish, but to enjoy. Read not to finish, but to enjoy. You cannot rush to the end. You don't have to rush to the end to just finish the book. Enjoy the book. Absorb everything the writer is trying to say. When the process is itself an enjoyment, then the destination will be. But the process is not itself an enjoyment, all the things are pointless. So you have to make sure the process is you're enjoying the process. Okay? So that's it. Never forget to enjoy the journey. Read what you love until you If you want to learn something, read about it. If you want to understand something, write about it. If you want to master something, teach it. Yogi Bhajan. So now I'm going to talk about writing and then teaching. Okay? So if you want to understand something, what you have to do, you have to write it. The best way to start writing is journaling. Write 1 page every day about your goals. Ladies and gentlemen, when you start writing something, you will understand it. You will start to understand it. Writing makes you creative. When you read it, you learn it. When you write it, you create this. And this is the point. You are creating the language. You are expressing your own self in your own way just by writing. So you have to write it down if you want to learn the language. We are not just talking about IELTS here. We're not talking about IELTS. We are talking about learning a new language first, and then we'll talk about IELTS. First, to learn the language, you have to write it. And the best thing you can write is to start journaling. Write 1 page every day about anything you want. And if you want to be specific, you can write about your goals. And Tracy once said that the goals that are written are the dreams with deadline. If you write, you'll set a deadline for your own dreams to achieve. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, so you have to try writing every day. Are you going to do that? Are you going to start writing? Amazing. Okay. Now, our ultimate goal, which is IELTS. This is the thing that you guys were waiting, right? The IELTS, the fun part. IELTS is nothing but an exam which is internationally recognized test of your English proficiency. They will evaluate your proficiency in English, right? Okay, so it is nothing but a combination of your listening capability, speaking, writing, reading and writing capability. So they're going to judge those 4 things to identify how good at you are in that language, in English. Okay? So what did I do? First, I talked about those 4 things. First, I talked about the journey itself. Then, I'm talking about the destination. Because I wanted to make sure, do not forget to love the journey, not the love the journey. IELTS will eventually come without, it will be effortless. Because you already know the language, isn't it? Like if the IELTS was about to be in Bangla language, it wouldn't be a big deal for you, right? Because you already know the language. So now, what I say is, to be better at your IELTS exam, first you have to be better at English. And these are the 4 areas where you have to focus to be better at IELTS. Now obviously, there are some rules and regulations that you have to follow. We'll eventually talk about it, how to do better. Maybe if you can, you need some guidelines. But now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to focus on the language itself. The language. To learn the language, to focus listening, speaking, reading, and writing habits. Why to take IELTS exam? Why is it necessary? If you take your IELTS exam, you will be one step closer to your destination, to higher studies. That means when you are about to take, when you already have taken your IELTS exam, they will not question about your English proficiency at all, because you just have shown them that your proficiency in English. So the thing that I was saying, if you want to be good at your IELTS exam, first you need to learn the language, and then if you take your IELTS exam, you will be one to your desired destination. Okay. So, obviously, say that we have SSC exam, HSC exam, and everything was written in English at that time. But now, why do I need to show any kind of proof that I'm good at English? Because those exams, your SSC exam, HSC exam, and the things that you are learning are not the globally, so they will not about your English proficiency. If you can show them your IELTS certificate. Well, obviously there are some other benefits if you take IELTS exam. If you take your IELTS exam, like for example, you can get some good jobs. If you want to be a part in a multinational company, you can just show them your IELTS certificate, and eventually they will believe that you are a good speaker or you know how to use the language in the right way. Okay, but now I'm gonna focus on the higher education part only. Okay. The best time to start was yesterday, and the next best time is now. If you want to start your journey, this is the best time for you to start. Now I'm gonna just summarize everything that I have in this session. First thing, start listening audiobooks or podcasts, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Read books every day, even if it's just a page. If it's not possible, just go in front of the mirror and talk. Write diaries every day, even if it's just a page. And then this session will be impactful. Otherwise, there is no point. Okay? You have to make sure you do these things in order to learn the language you love. Okay? You do not become a master because you are able to retain the knowledge. You become a master when you are able to release it. The thing is, you have to release it. You have to share things that you have learned today with others. You have to want to be the master on that. And obviously, you have to apply those knowledge. You have to start applying those things that I have told you today. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Tasin Islam, Institute of English Language, Mymensingh. Thank you.